Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Celebrity Special on Waka Canada. I remain your host, Irioluwa Roberts. And today in our studio, we have the highest ranking Nigerian born Toronto police officer. Yes, he is a police officer here in Toronto, Canada. I will allow him introduce himself because I am super excited to have him in our studio. Welcome, sir, to Celebrity Special.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Sergeant Detective Bassey Osagie of the Toronto Police Service.
Wow, it's good to have you here. It's really an honor to have you in our studio.
Thank you for having me.
So today's going to be fun-filled because I have lots of questions to ask, and I hope you're ready to give our viewers the answers. The first question is going to be, we want to know a little bit about your background,
Okay.
like where you're from.
Okay. Well, my background is originally, I'm very proud of it, from Uhi, in Uho, the local government of Edo State.
Wow.
I attended primary school and secondary school there until I moved down to Canada, and I attended York University. At York University, I studied a business administration, had a business degree from York. Following, believe it was my third year of York University, I got a job as a court officer with the Toronto Police Service. I did that, then I graduated from York. So when I graduated from York, I decided to be a police officer. Boy, it was always a coincidence. I would give a very quick. I was in school at the fourth year. I have attended the Toronto Police headquarters, drove a friend there who was looking for employment with the Toronto Police.
Okay.
While I was there, then the employment officer pointed out to me about, what about you? Are you not looking for a job? And I said, no, I'm not looking for a job. I was a security guard at the time. Then I took the form, I filled it out. Like they said, the rest is history. I passed, and then I became a court officer. While I've been a court officer, that's where I learned to be a police officer. Most of my co-workers have become police officer. That is how I became a police officer. It wasn't planned. It wasn't my career path. It wasn't my dream job. But I love it.
So far, so good.
Yeah, I love it, and I'm glad that was the best decision I made at the time as a young man.
So in general, you've been in Canada for how long?
I've been in Canada for over 25 years.
Wow.
Yes, I've been a police officer for 24 years.
So it was like immediately you migrated to Canada that you became.
This is my being a court officer was my first real job, and that have been since I finished school. I never worked in any other place other than Toronto Police.
Oh, so like even when you found yourself in it, you never doubted it. So you were open to it from the beginning.
I was open to it. At the beginning, I'll be honest, at the beginning it was very rough. You go to the police college, the food, you don't have a bar, you don't have and then the food were very strange. And the culture shock. The way I grew up in Nigeria was different from the people I was with. So many times, I often, when I come home on weekend, sometimes I don't want to go back. But I overcome that, and I was determined at the time that no matter what, I'm going to finish police college. I am going to go on the road. Even at the beginning when I started, I was telling my daughter the other day, when I started with Toronto Police Service, there's not a lot of immigrants. So not too many people that have accent like me. My accent is a little bit better now. Back then, every time I pick up a radio to talk, I have sweat all over my face, because when I pick up the radio to speak, the first question the dispatcher will ask me would be, can you repeat?
Wow.
Can you say it again? So when you get that kind of feelings all the time, you'll be afraid to talk. So I became like that. Sometimes I'll just send a message to the dispatcher, because you can communicate via computer to the dispatcher that this is where I'm going, instead of pronounce. Especially when I look at the street, I know it's going to be so difficult to say in Nigerian accent, and then that became a problem. So that was what I did to survive.
Oh, I see. So you actually mentioned like the kind of obstacle you went through during police college, and knowing that you didn't really have any police college thing back home, do you think it's the same thing, like the same way we go through it here in police college here in Canada is the same thing they go through in Nigeria too?
No, no, no. The training at the police college here and the training they receive in Nigeria is like night and day. First of all, I went to Nigeria a couple of years ago. I went to during the training exercise, and I saw the recruits carrying a gun. They were carrying a wooden gun to demonstrate that they were training. But here we actually shoot.
Wow.
Because the police college, there are some days you probably shoot about maybe 500 rounds just to practice, and you have to qualify, and everybody go through the ranks. So maybe your education will assist you in moving through the rank quicker or to understand it better, but we all start the same.
Wow.
And once we recruit, we don't have this where you have to bring somebody from the community like the chiefs, the House of Revenue in Nigeria. Somebody have to recommend you before you can become a police officer. Here we don't do that. The main thing they do your background check.
Okay.
What kind of character are you? What kind of person are you? And they come to your neighbors.
Yeah.
They interview them. They interview your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and say, is this the kind of character that we should employ as a Toronto police officer? Once you pass through those investigations and the background check, then they send you to a psychologist.
Wow.
Psychologists will ask you a series of questions. If the question kind of show that you're off or that you may not be able to make a tough decision, then you may not pass. Because being a police officer here carry a lot of responsibilities, carry a lot of power, carry a lot of discretions, and last 10 seconds decision making. We don't have a lot of time to make decisions. You could change somebody's life by making a bad decision.
Sure.
And you don't have enough time to really process it through. So you got to be very quick and very understanding, have empathy, compassionate, and before you make those decisions. Another thing is pay. The salary of the Nigerian police make it impossible for them to be effective and efficient. I have always said in my previous interview, a police officer in Nigeria should not make anything less than 100,000 naira. I know people will say even if you pay them 1 million, they will still take bribe. That's not true. It's because that is the culture. But we have to change the culture. It's not just about money, it's about benefits. What benefit do they have? What do you do if they lose their life, they lose their job? What do we do to protect them? Unless we have those things in place, we're not going to have good police officers. And we're not going to have them doing their job the way we want them to do it. And we're not going to be able to stop corruption. So corruption has so many other reasons. It's not just pay. It's people. Are they competent?
Sure.
Do they have personal, like you have to be prideful about your job. If you are not prideful, it's easy for you to take bribe.
I know.
And another
know.
problem is that the problem in Nigerian police also is that they need to decentralize it. I'm not advocating for state police. I think that's also problematic. But we need to decentralize it where people can serve in the state that they are trained. You can't train somebody in Kaduna and send them to be a policeman. It's not going to work. They won't understand the culture. They won't speak the language.
Sure, and the community setting there.
Because every crime is local. Nobody comes from abroad to commit crime in your localities. It's people from within. So if the police officer doesn't understand the culture and the language, how are you going to solve the problem? So that is the major.
There's so much going
There's
on
so
in
much
Nigeria police
so
force.
we can't go through
I'm
that.
telling you, we can go on, and
Exactly.
still, I think it will just be the same with them there. Yes. So bringing us back to Canada, like when I first introduced you, I introduced like the highest ranked Nigerian-born Toronto police officer. I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering, what do I mean by that? So, Mr. Osagie, or Sergeant Osagie, sir, yes, if you can please throw more light in it, because I know you must have passed through few or a lot of challenges before you attain this rank. I don't know how the ranking comes, but I know here in Canada, you have to merit whatever you are in now or you are. So if you can throw a little bit of light on explaining what this highest rank means as the only Nigerian, Toronto-born police officer.
Okay, what that means is that our ranking, what that means is that in the Toronto Police Service, I was born in Nigeria, so I'm the only one that have attained that rank for people that were born in Nigeria. I don't know about police services, but what that means is that when you get higher, like I said, regardless of your degree, you start as a police constable, recruit, we call it.
Okay.
From recruit, you move to fourth class constable. From fourth class constable, third class, second class, first class constable. Once you attain the first class constable, then you technically you can apply to be a sergeant, but it's an expectation that you should serve in different function. Like I serve in the major crime unit. I serve in the street crime unit.
Wow.
I was in a homicide unit. Then you have to do all of that. And then once you have done that, then you are qualified to write the test. Then your unit commander have to give you an evaluation. I must have tried like 2 or 3, 4 times. Not just the exam to go past the unit commander saying you got my blessing. Then after that, then you become if you pass the exam, you go for the interview and you pass it, then you become a sergeant. Then after that, then you do a couple of months or years, then they can assign you to become a detective.
Wow.
So which I have done all that, and then I moved on to even most of the time have done an acting staff sergeant in so many instances.
Super
And then
proud
now I'm back to I started my policing career in 32 Division, and I have come back. I'm back there now, but now I'm in charge of the neighborhood community officers program. It's a new program within Toronto Police Service where we are moving away from even our old community policing strategy.
Okay.
The strategy now is that you look for a neighborhood, you assign officers there permanently.
Okay.
That's where they go every day for a minimum of 4 years. So we have different neighborhood like that have officers there. So I'm in charge of our division. I'm running that program in our division. So that is what we do, and the ranking.
That's
but
how the
in terms
ranking
of the
is.
ranking, I had been an acting staff sergeant. The next one will be like inspector. Then from inspector you get the superintendent and staff superintendent, and that's it. So we don't have, like in Nigeria, about 10. We have about 5.
Wow.
So if I have to go through the ranking in my career from being where I am at acting, then you got to be an inspector. From inspector, you have to be a superintendent, staff superintendent. That's it, and then because the chief position is political appointment, so it's like an IG. But our system is different. We don't have to necessarily have our IG from the service. The mayor, the community, board can appoint anyone from anywhere to become your chief.
Wow, that's really interesting. That brings me to the question, as in your process of all the years that you've been in this job force, have you come across any Africa, especially Nigeria, like attempting to be a police officer, maybe that fall on their way, or have you worked with any other Nigerian?
Yes, I've done my best to do that, especially early on. I have organized job fair. I've talked to churches. I have gone a lot everywhere to try to recruit young Nigerians.
Wow.
And sometimes we have if there's like an event, a Nigerian event going on, and people contact me, I'll call my employment unit. They will bring the table and bring information on how to join the
job fair.
Join the police. And I have been able to get few people to join through my effort. But I believe it's not enough. I want to do more. I have few years to retire. By the time I retire, I want a lot of young Nigerians to take over and be like me. And hopefully they go past my rank and represent us better. But it's a very difficult task. The reason I'm saying that, a lot of people don't realize that to become a police officer is not a regular application. It's not just you go there, you apply, you let the application speak for you. No. You have to prepare for it years in advance.
Okay.
Because you have to be able to pass the test to enter. You have to be physically fit.
Oh.
Then you have to be crime-free. You can't have bad record to join. And then only that, you can't even have too many bad demerit points. You know, if you have a ticket and you have too much ticket, then you won't be able to join. And back then, if you have a bad credit, you will not be able to join. So those are the difficulties I've had in terms of recruiting more Nigerians. And another thing I'll tell our people is that when you want to join the police force, forget about whether you have a PhD or doctorate degree, you have to study the package.
Okay.
You don't need to be a graduate to pass the police entry point exams. The exam is based on grade 10 and grade 11. But if you have a degree from Nigeria and then you are unable to pass the test, the degree is useless. All they need is a high school certificate.
Okay.
And then that's all you have to have. But the difficulties, like I said, I have with recruiting a lot of Nigerians. The female, I have problem with the physical test. I haven't been very successful at that. But I believe I was able to assist a lady who's in York region now. Then physical, then inability to pass the test and not prepared ahead of time. So it's work in progress. If any Nigerians are listening to this program, I want them they can contact me. They can send me a message on my Instagram. It's at TPS Osagie. It's TPS Osagie. They can contact me. I'll give them. I can even meet with them at my station to explain to them the process.
Yeah.
But what I find is that you tell them the process today, a lot of them don't come back because
everybody's scared to start from
because
the beginning.
They realize it's almost overwhelming. But what I tell them is take it a step at a time. Be physically fit. Finish that. Then study for the test. Then while you are doing that, don't commit crime. Don't fight people. Because you know the problem with that, they will call your girlfriend, they may call your ex and ask them what kind of person you are.
Your character.
That is the problem.
Yeah. Oh, so okay. Let me ask you this: have you ever, I want to ask, have you ever been in any scenario or situation whereby there's a case happening and it involves Nigeria? I'm talking based on the fact that I know how Nigeria mentality goes so far. Have you ever seen a case or have you ever handled a case that involves African Nigeria and they're expecting you to be some kind of favoritism, like brother?
Yeah. Yes, I have encountered a lot of Nigerians in my dealings, and if it's just a traffic stop, that's a little bit different. You can educate them and tell them. In terms of criminal, I have experience with them. I've not really seen anyone that said because you are most of the time they don't know. But when they know, I have never really experienced someone saying, give me a break because I'm Nigerian. I've never really experienced that. But I believe most people that live here know that police here, we are very ethical.
Okay.
Our moral value is very high. It's very difficult for me to bend the rules, especially when it's criminal. When it's some other traffic, we can use our discretion. But when it's criminal, there's nothing we can do about it. So I've never really experienced them telling me to look the other way. First of all, most Nigerians are, once they get in that kind of trouble, they are scared. So I never. It's not very easy. They're not bold enough.
So you wouldn't ask you for such favors.
I've never. Yeah. First of all, they are shaky and they're very nervous. So they have never really seen them where they say, "Brother, do me a favor." No, because they know
the law.
It's very intimidating for them. So I have tried to say, okay, you know what? I know you're a Nigerian, you never experienced this. This is how it's going to go. This is the process. And the process will be fair to you. Like when I'm the officer in charge in a station and they bring somebody before me to a parade, like when you are arrested, so you have to go before the officer in charge, and they come and realize that they have a Nigerian name and they're very nervous. I'll tell them, look, nothing is going to happen to you. This is the process. You're going to be booked. If you can get released, you'll be released. But this is how it's going to go. Nobody's going to beat you. Nobody's going to force you to say anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody's going to force you to say anything that is bad. You are going to be treated fairly. And in most cases, they have been very thankful about just to calm the nerves, because it's very intimidating and very nerve-wracking when you are being arrested.
I agree. So let me bring it down a bit. The tension has been a bit high. And so far, I see that you really have passion for Nigeria. You're so proud of it. I see the passion in you. And with that brings me back to what I've seen of recent. And I'm happy, but I just want you to, tell us about it. I've seen flyers going around about you having political
detention.
yeah,
Political detention.
detention.
So I would jump on that. The reason is that I'm still consulting with my people, and try to see how we can rescue Edo State. The problem is that Edo State is not just now. From when I was born, we have challenges with security. Edo State, from when we were young, we have Anini, we have
I
people.
remember that story.
Exactly,
Yeah.
people are afraid to invest in Benin because of insecurity.
Yeah.
Edo State have the largest number of diaspora in abroad. People are afraid to go home because security. There are other issues. There's no good hospital and
The
all
road
that.
is bad.
Exactly. The road is bad.
Bad.
The infrastructure is
Infrastructure is
bad. There's
bad,
no
yeah.
water. So the problem with Edo State is so overwhelming that it's going to take somebody like me with my security expertise and my international credibility to rescue Edo State and make sure it's secure so that people can invest in Edo. Because if a place doesn't have good security, people are not going to invest. It's not going to prosper. And then we are going to go back to what we used to do. And we can't keep doing that. Because we have done that for like 24 years now. I can tell you that since Ogbemundia was a governor,
Yeah, I know.
since he left, there have been no meaningful development. Every government, they try. They do their best. But what I always tell people is that if you don't know a good process, if you don't know how the process works, and you have never experienced it, you have never been in it, how are you going to effectively put it together? So you will need somebody like me who have international experience, who understand how to take a process from point A to point B. And it's not just by people that Google it and they do research and write all kind of nonsense on the pages, on their campaign page, what they are going to do. That's not what we want. We want somebody who has
the
experienced
knowledge,
it,
yeah.
who has the knowledge, who has the competence and the capacity, who have seen how it works.
Yeah.
Not just see it with your eyes, who have been part of where it works, who have been part of the management. I've promoted in 2012, so I've been part of Toronto Police management, and I know how to manage people. I know how to get people to work for you. I know what is good, what is bad. And other things that in Nigeria, we don't punish offenders. When you don't punish offenders, there's nothing to serve as a deterrent to a future offenders. So that is the problem. So that is why I'm consulting, and I believe if someone like me can fix Edo State, can be the governor of Edo State and fix it, so that people will be comfortable to come home. People will feel secured. We have all the amenities you need for you to go home and visit, and for our people at home too. Because of the fear of security that they have, that's why you see in Benin, especially Benin, more young people are into courtesan.
Yeah, true.
A lot of them are into courtesan to protect themselves
Cells.
from
Godfatherism,
from being abused because there's no security in the state. So that is why we have to fix it. But you cannot send someone. You cannot send a farmer to be an engineer.
At all.
You cannot put somebody, if you have never used a spoon to eat in your life, and then you are used to using hand, then somebody give you a spoon to eat. How are you going to know the process? So it's better you give the food to someone who know how to use the spoon to eat it. So that what I mean in essence is that you need somebody who has been part of the management of a good system, so that they can implement what we learn here. With the diaspora, with the doing diaspora, Benin should be like a mini Canada. Benin City should be like a mini Toronto, because the money we are pumping in there. And I believe that instead of sending somebody else to do the job,
You can
instead of expecting somebody else to go and do the job, so I should do it and then bring everybody together to join me to fix the state.
So
that's why I'm consulting.
So far, are there be any acceptance with this intention of yours at home? Do you have any support?
Yeah,
any
we are
acceptance?
consulting with our people, and actually, it's our people in Benin, Edo State, that have been calling me.
Oh,
when are you going to
okay.
come home?
Okay,
When are you
okay.
going to come to help our people in terms of security? In terms of how to fix the state. That was why I even came to my mind in the first place, because they're saying that 24 years experience as a Toronto police officer, having gone through the rank, having gone through all the units, having done all this job here, why don't you come home to serve your people? Why don't you come home to fix the problem? So that's how it started.
So I actually want to ask you one question. I know being a police officer here in Canada, we watch CP24, we know the risk that comes with it. How does your family take this job of yours? How do they go by day to day?
Yeah, well, I won't lie to you. Obviously, it's not easy for our family, especially you have children. They get worried. But what I try to do, I tell them the reality. When I go home at the end of the day, I will explain what I do, why I'm on the job. I call them, and there's no way you can say they will not worry. They are worried, but over time they get used to it. Just like I get used to it, and then they are not too worried. But once in a while, when they say there's a shooting, a police officer get injured, my phone, and there's no name given yet, my phone is beeping. People calling, are you okay? We had Toronto police officer get shot. We had Toronto police. They are not announcing the name. Are you okay? So I have to quit sending messages to all of them that I'm okay. So yeah, you can't take that away. Your family will be worried. They will be stressed. But after a while, they get used to it. It becomes part of the job.
So, viewers, you've heard from Sergeant Osagie himself, and I hope he has been able to put a little light on some questions that might be lingering in your mind. And of course, he has mentioned that if you have any intention to join the police force, you could contact him via his Instagram page. I will allow him say his Instagram handle. So if you're interested, you could send him a DM. Please, sir, can you just tell us?
Yes, for everyone that have security question, but let me clarify something here, because I am getting a lot of people in Nigeria sending message if they can join the police. Let me clarify that. Nobody's going to hire you to become a police officer in Toronto until you are in Toronto.
Okay.
So for those of my brother and sister that want to be a Toronto police officer, thank you for your interest, but you have to be here first.
Okay.
But once you are here and you need assistance to join, I will be willing to help you. And you can contact me on my Instagram post. My is at TPS Osagie. TPS Osagie. Osagie. You can.
Yeah.
My email will be too long. Or you can just Google my name and then my.
We're gonna
Yes.
tag him on our IG Andrew. Waka Canada is gonna tag him on it. So you could DM me. As you've heard him, you have to be in Toronto before you could get any advice or anything from him. So thank you, sir, for gracing our studio, and we hope to learn more from you and have you here. And of course, we keep tab, we follow up on your political intention when it start blooming. Waka Canada is going to be there to support you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, we've come to the end of today's episode of Celebrity Special. Till we meet again, do have a good day.